Steven Spielberg has had quite the career, hasn't he?
I mean, he has directed some of the most well known films of the modern generation. And when I say that, I mean the 70s onwards. I mean, he directed movies like Jaws, the first four Indiana Jones movies, E.T., Jurassic Park 1 and 2, Schindler's List, Saving Private Ryan, and so many others. It's quite crazy to think that over his massive career, he's also not known for a lot of other movies. Like, did you know that he directed other lesser known films like The Sugarland Express, 1941? He had a part in Twilight Zone the movie, Empire of the Sun, and Amistad.
But perhaps his most least known film that he's ever made is surprisingly his first film, which was 1971's Duel, based on the short story released in the same year. Now, as you see around the Wikipedia, it used to be a TV movie. The plot is about uh, a guy in a named David Mann, played by Dennis Weaver, is on a business trip when he begins to get chased by uh, a truck, and it constantly tries to kill him throughout the movie. Of course, the film. Yeah, that's pretty much the plot. Yeah, it's not a lot, but when you look at the budgets, yeah, it's not a lot. So this movie was the ABC Movie of the Week, which Spielberg took the story uh, and decided to make a movie out of it. Now, of course, when it came out on television in 1971, it was very successful. People liked it, and it was good enough to be released in cinemas. With a few extra scenes and a lot more, and a tiny bit more swearing in it. And it's, of course, the more well known version is, of course, the theatrical version, but I think the TV version on YouTube. But for the most part, the ideal version is, of course, the theatrical. But what do I think of the movie? Honestly, I think it's one of Spielberg's best films, and it's probably one of the best first films I've seen, if not the best. Still haven't seen American Beauty. I'm not old enough. Yeah, so the the way this film works is that it's a really simplistic film, but it has a lot of like intensity in it. Like there's different scenes of him in different locations, like a few restaurants, a phone booth, and the truck driver always follows him to these places. There are scenes that happens where the truck driver tries to kill him, but I'm not going to spoil any of them. But let's be honest, you probably already know from like the poster. But one of my favorite scenes is in like near the end where there's a standoff between him and the truck driver, and it goes on for like a bit of time. Like he's on one side of the road and then the truck driver's on the other. And if he gets close, then the truck driver leaves. But then uh, when he drives his car closer to our location, the truck driver pulls out and in order for uh David to crash into him, but it doesn't work. Then David tries to run to the truck, but it leaves. But then when he goes back to his car, the truck comes back, right back in its place. So eventually leads to the final chase, which this is probably one of the best chase movies I've watched. It has really, really well done, intense chase scenes. That really, you do feel bad for this guy. I mean, he's just trying to drive in the middle of nowhere, and he's suddenly being chased by this madman. And I have a theory that, you see, this is what the front of the truck looks like. I have a theory that all these license plates are all the license plates of the previous victims he's claimed. This isn't the first time the truck driver has tried to kill someone. It's just a theory. It's not actually confirmed in the movie, but it might actually be true. I might have heard it somewhere else, but it is an interesting theory and might be true, might not. It's just a theory. A film theory. I mean, if I was in the situation of this gigantic truck chasing after me with all the kind of claimed victims, I would just be like, okay, then just drive off the cliff. Whee! What I really appreciate about the film is that they didn't do the lazy way out and have a green screen behind them. No, they actually had the balls to film in the desert with a stunt driver in the car for the more action-esque scenes. If like the car crashes into something, foreshadowing. Uh, they didn't do the cheap way out and just green screen it, which a lot of movies had like a green screen for driving scenes, and of course, Airplane mocked this by having crazy things happening in the green screen during a driving scene. But I appreciate what the filmmakers did. I appreciate what Spielberg did, and he had like uh them film it in the desert and have Weaver in the car for a few scenes and then a stunt driver for the more action-esque scenes, because remember, it's still an action movie, even though the action is kind of minimal, but it's a lot of chasing going on, so yeah. If I have a problem with this movie, do I have any problems with this? Pretty good film. Great film, actually. I guess they could have done a little bit more with the ending, which I'm not going to spoil, but I'm going to say that the ending, it doesn't end, and mostly just stops. There's not that much of a payoff other than watch a movie to find out. Now, the full movie's on YouTube, but I do have a DVD of it, so that's where I watched this. I did watch it on YouTube at first, but of course, the video that I watched was taken down, and the only one that exists now, not in very good quality, so I got the DVD, and it's in very good quality. So, yeah, this is a very solid film. A really good character. There's only one character. Really intense throughout. Good cinematography, especially the diner scene where it goes for a more like shaky style, and it really sells the fact that this guy is pretty much losing his sanity over this truck situation. The chase scenes are intense. The ending, as I said, not great, but the final battle is really good. The standoff scene is well filmed, well directed. The film is well directed, and it's also well acted from the actors that are in the film that are not Dennis Weaver, who is still very fantastic as the main character. So yeah, I give this film a solid 8 out of 10. A lot of first movies from directors are usually just really low budget indie films that don't really have that much substance to them. But I'm sure some others are really well done and can be really good first directed movies. What other directorial debuts are there out there? No?